I noticed you took to Twitter then, Simon.
Yeah.
And you said to us yesterday, I told you that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the real deal.
Yeah, that's called irony.
A little clown's face and a wee Pinocchio emoji as well. Then the expression swallows and summer, spring come to mind. And then you say, great result for United, but they're still on a trip to nowhere.
Yeah.
So on this day that we're live streaming for the very first time on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter, do you want to apologise to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and say, you no longer have to get your coat because it's no longer required?
You've got to contextualise these comments and based upon the timing of the comment and the substance of the debate we were having at the time. So I think it was after a game. What you asked me, what would you do? Given my constant vitriol to the job that he's done, I can't say anything other. If you were owning Manchester United, what would you tell Ole to do? I'd tell him to get his coat. So contextually, of course, I would say the same thing. You look at the job that he's doing, and it's a decent job, and I have always said it's a decent job. But I don't look at Manchester United and say, like Danny just said, which is to make them competitive. When did it become that Manchester United had to be competitive? I thought Manchester United were built to win. I thought that they were one of the few teams in the Premier League that don't pay win bonuses to their players because they expect to win. I don't look at it and say, well done for having 3 years of getting this side competitive. Well done for having 500 or 600 million pounds of a talent, perceived talent in football terms, on the pitch. And every now and again, you can get very compelling results. Now, of course...
Like yesterday?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, when they beat the team that no one could beat.
But with respect, Jim...
I mean, look at them lining up there on the YouTube channel.
But with respect, Jim...
You're being asked to apologise.
It's irrelevant, Jim.
In big numbers.
They can beat Man City in this game, but they've got to win the league. They've got to win the league. They may well win the FA Cup. They may well win the Europa League. I don't think they will, but they may well do. But they won't win the Premier League, and I don't think they'll win either one of those two tournaments either. Because when it comes to the moment, the big moment when you really have to be tested as an elite manager and an elite team against teams that perhaps won't play like Man City did. Man City playing on the front foot, allowing you to come onto them, whereas perhaps other teams will bank up and say, OK, do a little bit better now, work out how to unpick us, which Man United have proven, A, tactically they haven't got the nous to do, and B, on the pitch they haven't got the acumen to do, and C, they haven't got the acumen in the dugout to make the changes to be able to affect the outcome.
So I don't see what would I be adrift from City at the moment. So they're not going to win the Premier League this season. You'd have to think.
Yeah, OK.
But are you saying they're not going to win the Premier League under Solskjaer at all?
I don't think so. I don't think so. That's been my constant analysis since he walked through the door from Mulder, that in order to be able to get to the level... Now, of course, no one sees an implosion like Jurgen Klopp, but he needs an implosion from others as well. He needs Guardiola to be off his mettle. He needs Tuchel to not be the manager that we think he may well be. He needs, Klopp to stay as he is for Manchester United to win the league. And that's what, when you're looking at the best part out of 80% of a decade with Man United being nowhere near winning the Premier League, I think you have to turn around and say that's challenging if you look at Man United as an iconic football club, and then you look at Solskjaer, and I think he's morphing all the time into a better manager. And I've always said, if you're happy to let him learn his trade on your time, that's entirely up to you, but will he get you the end result? And I don't think he will. I don't think he's got the chops to win the Premier League.
Oh, he's having to learn his trade because he's not long there. That's why.
3 years, Jim. The world turns in 3 years. We've had a pandemic. The whole world has turned around.
They've lost 4 in 28. They've only lost 4 in 28.
Jim,
Simon, come on.
Jim,
they went across the City and they beat City.
You lose one game.
They beat Manchester City. No team had done it.
You lose one game at Wimbledon and you're a runner-up. Who remembers the runner-up in Wimbledon tennis in 1977, 1984, 1989? Nobody remembers the runner-up because nobody cares.
So
do you know what second is? First loser.
On what do you base your claim that Solskjaer will not take United to the Premier League title?
Because I can indulge you and go down the territory of saying, well, I'm going to change my mind and go into the media world of a U-turn. Because I don't think he's good enough as a manager. I don't think he will produce a team that has a mentality that's capable of winning the Premier League over 38 seasons against what's in this Premier League
over 38 games.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that, Danny? I don't. I think Solskjaer could do it with United.
I don't think he can with this squad. Could he be capable of getting them closer if they sign 2 or 3 top draw players in the summer? Maybe. But as of now, I don't think they'll win it with this squad. No, I agree.
Okay, let's say he goes and gets a centre forward and another centre half, right? Do you, in your mind's eye, honestly, Danny, and I don't care what the answer is, do you envisage a situation? I don't care the answer if you contradict me or not. Is my point, right? Do you envisage in your mind's eye seeing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as the Premier League winning manager of Manchester United?
Not really. No. That's partly not to do with my view on him. That's to do with how far ahead Man City are and the qualities of Pep in the last 3 years and the last 4 years, and even Liverpool come into that equation. I think he is, Ole's a likeable guy.
Yep.
You kind of, his humility and his demeanour is something you have to like, I think. I like the tone. I like the way he conducts himself. He knows how to represent the club well. He's done some really positive things at the club. But ultimately, to answer your question, can I see him lifting the Premier League trophy above his head at Old Trafford anytime soon? No.
Not if he recruits if they recruit in a very effective way in the next window, Danny.
He answered that already.
One of the problems, Jim, is does he recruit? Who's recruiting? Who's bringing has he got a big enough say at the club, or is he just happy to be there? I don't know the answer to that. Ultimately, they need to.
Well, who recruited Bruno Fernandes? They haven't got a director of football, have they? Right, so it must be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, mustn't it?
Well, if he recruited him, then well played.
So, but it must
because
be him,
he got him in the Champions League. You'd think so. But you never know.
But what Jim's trying to do is trying to compartmentalise an observation that I've repeatedly made. Would like me to get into the territory of media crap where I go onto a U-turn, or come back to the central theme, which is this guy, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, is a decent manager, but is he better than Guardiola, and is he better than Klopp? And that's always been a distinction I've made, and you've just made the same distinction. We get to the same position, Jim, because we both look at the competition and say, is he a decent manager? Yes, but will he overcome the two elite managers to be able to give Man United what they could and should have as a club
yesterday
in an individual game, Jim? An individual game.
Mm-hmm. I don't think there's a manager on the planet who'll come and be able to bring Manchester United above City while Pep's there in the league.
That's a sweeping statement.
I mean, that says a lot.
Don't agree with that.
I must say.
I don't agree with that.
But who could?
Well, Klopp just did it last year, didn't he?
But Liverpool's squad, their team's better than United's by a long way.
I think you do Solskjaer, Simon, a huge disservice because you're now getting nervous, if you don't mind me saying so, because from get your coat, you've now gone to he's done a pretty good job.
No, I have always said,
and then compartmentalising.
I have always said he's
it's just a pile of piffle.
Yeah,
you're having to reverse.
You can get your prompting from the producer out there, right?
You're having
but I can tell
reverse.
You that I have always turned around and said that he's a decent manager, but Man United don't need a decent manager and they need an elite one. Roll the video back over the last 18 months and see where I've contradicted myself. You ghastly pair of ghouls.
Give me a manager. Give me a manager who could come in, you think, and get United to overtake City.
Good question. Go for it.
With Pep in charge.
There you go.
Conte, Simeone. I think depends what culture you want to do. I mean, the answer is, again, it depends, because I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doesn't have the gravitas with Manchester United to get the players he really wants. I think Man United should have a centre-forward. I think they should spend £100 million on buying a centre-forward. Why haven't they got one? Why did they sell Lukaku 2 years ago and not replace him? That's down to the level of leverage that the manager has and the relationship that he has. And that comes from a track record of winning things, which our boy doesn't have except at Mulder. And if you count that, then you count that.
Conte and Simeone are never getting the job because the way they play football is too pragmatic and dire to watch. That's why Conte was.
Okay, well, let me reverse the question to you then. Who could you see going in there that would be able to break? There's not a stranglehold right now because Klopp's, in the cheap seats right now. But as far as Guardiola,
which is why I say leave him in the job.
Who?
For now, Ole.
Well, yeah, because it helps Liverpool get back on top again.
No, because I think there's progression, and I think at least they're trying to play the way United want to play. He understands that, and I think that right now
progression to what end though, Dan? If you and I have just conceptualised in our mind and for Jim's benefit and laid it out for him so he can read it later on at a later stage and acknowledge it, that there's no chance that he's going to overturn Guardiola. What's his progression to then? He keeps on coming second. What's the use of that?
What I'm saying is, at the moment, I don't think there's anybody out there who can come in and make them better at the moment with the squad they've got. I think they're doing as well as you could expect them to do.
Yeah, and I would agree with that, Danny. I would agree with that. And I think they'll win things under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at United. Paul and Berry, I couldn't put it better myself. What nonsense is Jordan talking about this morning? Ole is more than good enough for Manchester United. The players like him. The fans like him. He obviously talks the talk when attracting players to Old Trafford.
Okay.
There you go. And as he says, let's face it, who'd have thought Roberto Mancini would have been good enough to win the league 9 years ago? Not even City fans. Paul and Berry, I salute you.